Hey guys, Tyler 2K here, just off the heels of the TWT tournament. Obviously, it was based in Thailand, so a little bit later to make this video simply because I was asleep when they had won. I'm not going to spoil anything here, but to want to talk about the three videos they had shown, Leroy, Ganryu, and I think it's called Fahkumram. Not quite sure 100%. I don't speak Thai, but I'm going to quickly talk about what I've noticed in this game in the release videos. And luckily, the three videos that they showed, two are brand new characters. Ganryu, honestly, he's kind of about the same character. I don't have a video for Ganryu specifically, but over on twitch.tv/Tyler2K for the last few days, I did talk about him while streaming the TWT finals. So you can kind of check that out, but I won't have a video exclusively for Ganryu until he comes out in just a few days now. So first things first, let's go ahead and talk about Leroy. Leroy is looking like a hybrid. I mean, obviously, his design characteristics are very similar to Fang, or not Fang. Well, he does have some Fang things, but Wong Jinrei, prior games. The start here, you see him basically reversing all these sort of attacks, kind of similar to what we had seen originally with Geese's trailer, except we don't see him actually reverse a rage art. Towards the end, we'll talk about it. It does look like he does reverse a rage art, specifically Heihachi's rage art. But for now, they're just single strike attacks. So yeah, for people who are unfamiliar with Wong, he could tap back one, and then if they did a high or a mid, he would automatically like parry it out of the way, and then depending on what button you hit, 1, 2, 3, or 4, he would do various reversals out of parry. So it looks kind of similar. It's a little bit flashier because when Wong did it, he would just kind of he go whoa yo yo yo, and he like move himself out of the way. It was pretty cool animation. This is very flashy with like the white hit sparks and white block sparks to signify that he has actually actively blocked an attack. And then later on, we'll see that he is able, just like Wong, to block or reverse multiple attacks in a row. With Wong, like I said, you tap back one, but in order to keep reversing, you hold back one. He might be in a similar vein. We'll find out in just a few days. But yeah, it looks very, very similar. So we're about to see the part where, and actually one thing to talk about here. Okay, so here it is. He's blocking multiple attacks and reverses the last hit back to back 1, 2, 4, 4, I believe it is, or 3, 4. But one thing that should be noted, typically what Namco does is they put in little kind of teasers to wet the whistle of people who've been playing the game a long time. So what you'll notice is a lot of times when these characters are fighting other characters, whether it be Leroy or Fahkumram, they are specifically nodding to people who recognize it that these characters are similar to what they are fighting against. So I don't think we have it this minute, but later on I'll specifically show you, like, he fights Lei and does something that Lei would do. He fights Fang, he does something that Fang would do. So they're little hints that give us a little bit more information as to what's going on. But first things first, this is really interesting. He actually has a kick reversal. Very rarely in Tekken, and you'll see it here. So he reverses Fang back 4 and gets him with an instant hit. So very rarely are like kick parries a thing. Leroy has one. So not only does he have like Wong back one, where you can just simply parry things, he also has the ability to reverse things. And it looks very similar to Lei Crane stance, but Lei Crane only beats lows. But his stance, Leroy's stance here, we can call it Crane just for the make things easier, actually reverses kicks. In this video, we haven't seen him reverse a high kick yet, just a mid and a low kick, but he does reverse kick attacks. Okay, so here we go. See one of the options at a reverse ends with basically a high elbow strike attack. There's a couple of characters in here. He has various options. They don't show too much. They actually kind of hide it using like lens flares and kind of post-production sort of effects. But they show it. The interesting thing with this option, he basically goes mid into a high elbow strike. But if you see it, they only show it for a few seconds, a few frames. Fang actually falls back onto his ass for an ass stun. So this is basically Mondo plus frame. So not only did you reverse his kick, you end with a high option that gives you pretty good plus frames as he recovers off the ground. So keep that in mind. They, like I said, they hide a couple of these, but they leave you just enough of a taste for, once again, people who've been playing the game a while to recognize it. So like I was talking about how they show certain characters versus him. So similar to Fang 4 3+4, it looks to be just like it's called Parting Clouds. Leroy has the same thing. So he basically stances his way through his down forward one, and it's an active attack. This isn't like a back one from Wong or anything they've shown so far. This is like an advancing stance. He blocks it, ends with the 1,000 punch. I'm going to call it 1,000 slap because I don't know the official term, and it's easier to call it 1,000 slap. But he ends with 1,000 slap, and then once again, elbow strike, and he puts him at massive plus frames. So you might be thinking, well, it looks like kind of the MO of Leroy now right now is that he is plus frame monster. So reversal, hit, plus frames, Bob's your uncle, nothing else. That's all he gets. Interestingly enough, that's also a nosebleed stun. So unlike the other elbow strike, this one could actually be reversed by holding down the fall to the ground. No reason or no way to know which one's which yet. This might be a special stance elbow strike, whereas the other one was a special full attack throw animation elbow strike. But we'll see a few elbow strikes later. But for now, it's important to note that everything they've shown so far is just plus frames. So this is likely going to be his 1+2 throw. The way he throws him to the ground, it looks very similar to Asuka up forward 2. So it's possible this is an extension, like a similar extension like Asuka up forward 2. But let's go ahead and just presume this is a generic 1+2 grab. Does the 1,000 strike to the ground and ends it. So here we go. He, like I was talking about earlier, with Wong back one, he is parrying every single hit, including the final kick of Razor Rush. Finishes with 1+2, and then here's once again the MO again, doing a 1,000 strike into plus frames, and once again doing the elbow strike finisher there. But we'll see in a little bit that it does appear to be a little bit different. Okay, so once again he is in his crane stance, and keep in mind this isn't a low that he's reversing. He's reversing a kick, just showing that it's a kick reverse option. Special animation, so just like Leo, he pushes Law to the ground and gets a free follow-up. So mid-high into basically a power strike mid. So rather than cashing with the 1,000 punch into plus frames, he does a power hit after. Important to note that this looks to be a standard power strike, so it's going to cause hard wall splat, but it's likely not going to be a wall bounce because of how the camera moves. Okay, so we'll see one of his stance transitions. Not sure if this is down forward 1-4 or wall stand 1-4, but he ends in his kick stance. But once again, because we're playing against Lei, what they show us is crane stance. He sidesteps just like Lei, and now we don't know if he's in a neutral or if he's in a special stance, presuming it's just a cancel. But once again, because they're showing Lei, when you're in a stance as Lei, you tap up or down, you transition into a stance, into a side hitting strike 2-2. Kind of similar to Fang 1-1, causing a natural hit launcher, crumple stun, into some sort of either forward 3 or up forward 3, 1,000 strike, ending with a high kick. So this kick looks very similar to Lee down forward 3-2-3. And I say that because after that kick, he basically does a power kick. It looks very similar to maybe Jin back 4, but we don't know for a fact if this is high into an extension kick or if that's just a follow-up kick. From the animation, it looks like a follow-up kick because it looks like he falls into neutral. But it's nice that he has a follow-up. So unlike Lee, I guess maybe depending on certain ranges, you can follow up on down 4-3-2-3, but not 100% sure. Okay, so Law back 1-2-1, minus 14 on block. Leroy punishes with a 1,000 strike into mid option, so a power elbow. So it's, so far we've really just seen power elbow on a reversal, but we have not seen thousand strike into a mid strike, natural hit, knockdown, wall splat option. And in a similar vein, we see this string, and there's not much context given to this one, but basically it's an advancing thousand palm, so it might be similar to Lei Razor Rush. And then he ends, you see how he's kind of stuck in this animation, ends with an overhead kick. And the animation looks pretty clean, so it might be like an attack throw extension, or maybe the whole thing is either a generic throw, attack throw. But the interesting thing here is it sparks, so that should do at least 20 damage. So likely isn't a generic throw, but is probably some sort of attack throw. Okay, we can skip ahead. Yeah, so you feel free to watch the videos. Go to the official Tekken channel to watch those videos. But let me go ahead and skip ahead. I have time codes saved for you guys, just to make life easier. Okay, so he interrupts Jin's down 4-1. And he looks to get some sort of attack throw extension. So once again, very similar to Asuka up 4-2, but likely this is counter hit only. Kicks him on the ground with the counter hit attack throw. Probably good Oki, I would imagine. Most importantly here, this might be out of a stance, but they show basically a hell sweep. Low into natural hit mid. So it's kind of in a similar vein to hop kicks in back in the day. Any character with like a hell sweep is not a bad character. Like you can take that to the bank. I mean, having a hell sweep is huge. Oh, so they show the dog, and I love the fact his fucking tongue is sticking out. It's hella funny. But similar to Bruce Chicks, like his item move where he throws like chickens at you, like little baby chicks. It is a low option. He hits some counter hit out of CDS. It looks like he drops into CDS. Counter hit, he gives the ankle or shin kick stun. I have to imagine it's gonna be gimmicks, but I don't know. We don't know. It might be an attack. It might be like an eye move. Who knows? I highly doubt it's like a natural, like an out of the box option, but you never know. John Wick is so huge. Okay, so once again, really no context shown to this. We see a whiff down forward 2, and then we see Leroy go into a handstand kick. Sorry, trying to get it for a few frames where you can see it. Handstand kick, high, homing attack, natural hit, knockdown. And then he does basically like a Killick style full crouch, A plus B cane stab. He hits him up and then spikes him down. So presumably this is like like a full animation. Likely because he's using an item, it's probably going to be launch punishable, so you have to properly hit confirm it. But at the same time, I have to imagine it's really, it's like if it hits, you're going to use it. Open field, you're never going to do the attack otherwise. And due to the fact that like when he does the launcher, his cane is still out, there's no way this is going to be like some sort of combo starter. This is just like pure like swag, basically, just pure like pre-canned animation. So spike again. Okay, so no context shown here, but seeing how he's kicking, he's like thousand punching his legs rather than his face. This probably isn't like a 1+2 throw. This is probably like his stomp. So rather than doing like a ground punch or a stomp kick when they're on the ground, he probably just thousand punches their feet, which at the same time probably almost certainly means like it's like super punishable, just like a Armor King down 4-4. Like he has the extensions, but at the same time like they're all launch punishable. So it's like okay. So get a power punch here. No, not sure if it's a stance attack, but it does cause a wall bounce. And from there, he goes into some sort of forward 4 strike, either forward 4 or down forward 4, into stance overhead. And if you notice that animation, that looks almost identical to Heihachi Rise Stance 2-1. And Rise Stance 2-1 is launch punishable. I mean, I highly doubt he has a single mid into a launch punish, like the mid is launch punishable, but at the same time, you never know. But it looks very, very, very similar. It is a little bit strange. We don't know for a fact. Okay, so we're gonna see his rage drive. Not much to talk about it because once again we're given very little context. But high palm strikes into the power elbow high. So remember, he's not doing an elbow strike with his right hand. He's now doing an elbow strike with his left hand, which causes the power splat. Keep in mind, it seems to be either all highs or high mid-high. Likely is going to jail, but if you can properly space out his rage drive, you can cause the high to whiff and launch punish it. So safe on block, like quote unquote, but if you can space it out just like Lily's, just like Heihachi's, it's going to be a safe one. You can properly punish it even though it's quote unquote safe. Okay, so this is very interesting. This is a move I definitely expect them to have. It looks to be like a down forward, either a down one or maybe a down back one into a 3. So likely going to be natural hit wall splat. Not natural hit, counter hit like NCC, high crushing wall splat option. Once again, they show the little flare there, so they kind of hide it. If I was to take a guess, probably also is a spin attack, so you can use it during combo filler. And then they show basically his likely go-to wall filler. So some sort of mid option into like triple or quadruple elbow, causing a flip over at the very end. So likely kind of just like 1000 bear slap or whatever it's called. What do they call it? Bear barrage. That's going to be probably his go-to wall option. Great Oki because it causes flip over, and likely because it sparks, it's going to be a low hitting option. So 60% damage reset. So you can't not love it. So here is the very interesting one. So the $1 million question is if Heihachi can reverse Rage Arts, or sorry, Leroy can reverse Rage Arts, cause this is Heihachi's animation for Rage Art. He does like the massive sidestep 2. I'm pretty sure this isn't just sidestep 2. I think this is Rage Art sidestep 2. And then he gets reversed. 1000 palm into the high strike. So once again, nosebleed plus frames, so on and so forth. And then what they do is they show Leroy's Rage Art right after. We've already seen it. That was interesting. I just noticed that. So 442 on block, and he kicks the shit out of him. 442 is minus 16. I mean, I highly doubt it's 16. It's fast, because typically the MO of Tekken Rage Arts is if it's fast, it's high, and if it's that fast, it's 13. That's definitely a straight kick. But so he punishes 442, and if it's not, I mean, there's a lot of questions. To have a mid like 15 or 16 frame Rage Art would be freaking huge. So yeah, that's something I hadn't considered. I didn't pick up on that until like right now. So like I said, I have a little bit of a script, but at the same time, my brain's still processing shit here. Oh yeah, so we had seen it earlier. Typically when you see Rage Art, they use their own attacks in the animation. Here is once again the high elbow strike, which once again causes plus frames, and obviously because he's in animation, he gets the 1-inch punch, giving you that awesome hit. Also, they kind of really don't show it, but yeah, look at this black dragon, man. That is fucking incredible. That's a great little spark there. Yeah, that's pretty much Leroy. Once again, if you want to watch the full video, full speed, go ahead and check out the channel. But let's go ahead and move on to Ganryu. So Ganryu is back. He now has a beard. He has obviously been stalking Julia's Instagram, and now he's turned himself into a streamer. So that's pretty funny. So just a little context. He has the beads on. And also, I guess Harada voiced or is the facial animation for Ganryu, which makes sense because Ganryu is his favorite character. So it was a no-brainer that Ganryu was coming back, Okay, so down forward 2. And then we see the old filler back for 1, except this time it will likely be a high attack, spin. My guess, it'll probably be a natural hit spin option. So at the wall, that will give him a really quick natural hit wall splat. With that being said, down forward 1+2 is so hit confirmable. I can't imagine back 4-1 being better than down forward 1+2. But yeah, just something to think about. And speaking of down forward 1+2, down forward 1+2, once again, you can hit confirm it. Final hit 1, causing the huge kind of knock up. Also, if you look at like the recovery speed, they don't get anything after, but I have a feeling you could fit something in here. Either maybe forward 2 or forward 3+4. I mean, I highly doubt forward 3+4 would work there, but hey, they show forward 3+4 as the very next option. And now it's his Power Crush option. So forward 3+4 always was kind of naturally evasive. So to add a Power Crush onto it, I get is good. It's good / bad. But yeah, he has that now. Also, 2-1 can now transition into his unblockable stance. And the cancel for the unblockable stance, down back 1+2, 1+2, now has Power Crush armor on it. And similar to last time, it causes the grasp, just like 4-4-2 on counter hit, which gives you 3 options, 1, 2, or 1+2. And 1+2 out of this stance is a full like class 1 launcher. And that's what we see here. Important to note for people who've never played Ganryu or never fought against Ganryu, this launcher is a throw, but the throw itself doesn't do damage. It's the ground that deals the damage. So even though you get a launcher, you're essentially the launcher's not doing any damage. So you can time it to get a little bit, but at the same time, I think most people fall into like an up forward 1+2 meta, just like we'll see shortly with the options. Most people just like going for that. So, speaking of which, he lets the ground hit do damage, and he does a deep dash down forward 4-1-2. If down forward 4-1-2 is just like Tekken Tag 2, even though the second hit of down forward 4-1 is high, the entire string fails. And importantly, down forward 4 by itself, if it's still like Tekken Tag 2, is -30 on hit. So if you aren't doing down forward 4-1, which once again, if they block it, jails, yeah, you're really asking to die. Even on hit, it's launch punishable. So just keep that in mind. A little bit of tidbit for people who are unaware. Okay, huge whiff on the up forward 2. Goes for the, I'll call it half circle forward 2, but it's like debugger, but with the 2. And just like Jack's 2 debugger, it causes wall bounce. So here's the really hard question, because we see this a few times. So he does the 1,000 palm, or not 1,000 palm, sorry, the power palm. Okay, so it looks like he did go into full crouch. I just wasn't paying attention. So we see full crouch down forward 2, causing a spin. In Tekken Tag 2, down full crouch down forward 2 was also a natural hit launcher, but with the spin system versus your actual bound system, it's a little bit depreciated in this game. But look at that. Look how high he goes. It's insane. So he dashes into the wall. 1-2. Into the back 1-2 Masaji wall ender. And if you've ever been hit by this, it's not fun. But basically, you just mash back 1-2 and just keep mashing. The more you mash, the more hits there are. There is like a physical limit. I don't know what the physical limit is, but it is there. But yeah, it's very consistent. Like the one thing Ganryu has going for him is consistency. Very fast when it comes to like his specialty moves, but also very consistent, pretty hit confirmable. He can be very YOLO, and that's one of the reasons he's scary. Can be played defensively, he can be played offensively. Ganryu is a terror to go against. So we see up forward 2, still a homing attack. 1+2 interrupts the forward 4 for counter hit. Now causes a full launcher. Then we see back to 1-2 still appears to be mid. It might be high now in hindsight, because no, it's probably still mid. And it now causes a spin. If I was to take a guess, if you do back to 1 and they block it and they try to interrupt the second hit, I have a feeling this is going to be a full launcher. It's still going to cause a spin launcher. So Back to one, honestly, is kind of terrifying to go against. It has inherent weaknesses to it via sidestep, but at the same time, it's essentially a scrub killer. If you aren't really confident with your timing, it's going to screw you up. And like I said, I'm pretty sure the last hit's going to be a spin launcher if they get counter hit. So you can play chicken with people. Okay, dash up ends with 4/4. Mostly a taunt kill. There's really no use for it in this game. In Tekken Tag 2, it was a filler option sort of stuff, but nowadays, not so much. I highly doubt you'll get anything. Okay, so we get the debug option. So instead of being a low, it's a big class 1 mid launcher. It looks like he backdashes up forward 1+2, standard filler from back in the day. And then back 4-1, new spin. Remember, it used to be a bound, now it's different. Into the back 2-1, and now it's hard to know if that was a stance transition, but it's new for sure. So it might be back 2-1, 1+2, which now goes into the unblockable stance. And then possibly out of this stance, you can cancel it with like 1+2 again, or something, maybe down 1+2 or down 3+4 or 3+4. Who knows? But it's interesting he has something. Similarly, one of the annoying things with Ganryu is his very low like squat stances and spring roll and stuff, which is like this really annoying low rolling attack. He's very hard to hit. Not only is he super evasive for his size, but like these options are just really annoying. So for him to have a cancel that ends with a low is like a big deal. Big deal. So we'll see. It's going to be mostly cheesy, but at the same time, Tekken 7 is really conducive to like YOLO lows that aren't really launch punishable on block. So, okay. So it looks like he does a down back 2 launcher check, but he's using his left hand. Important to note, he has sprite, like homing sprites. So it's basically a homing rage drive low into power spike, kind of like I wouldn't say necessarily a shittier debug, but very similar. And then he ends with a new stomp option. And now that I notice it, it looks to be he ends in unblockable stance. Wow. So he now has a stomp cancel to his unblockable stance too. So down back 1+2, 3 presumably. So that's nice. I mean, the more the merrier. Unblockable already was a decent option, in the sense that he has like a high natural hit launcher variant off of it. So it's the more options, the scarier the stance becomes. So respect to that. That's nice. Not much else to show. They show his rage drive or rage art. Basically, he just ends in like a sumo butt slam. That's about it. But that's the end of it. They just kind of, hey, subscribe to me. Julia's mad or something. I don't know. Whatever. That's basically Ganryu. He's probably going to be a monster. He was a monster in old games. With now new options out of stance, I mean, I have to assume he's going to still be a monster. So, to be honest, now that I'm kind of theory crafting, I have to imagine Power Crush is probably the best thing against his unblockable stance now. I have to imagine. You can kind of mash it out, which forces him to use the low. So that's probably why they gave him a low. They probably had considered that, so they added now the Superman headbutt had a low or something like that. I don't know. Ganryu is good. You're gonna get sick of this guy online. I guarantee you. He has a 10-frame headbutt that guarantees damage. He has super long attacks. He's pretty evasive. He's not like a Bob where he's gonna crush everything. But Ganryu is definitely gonna be meta defining. Almost certainly. I doubt he's gonna be a bad character. So the new character. Fahkumram out of Thailand. He, while introduced, looks very much like Sagat from Street Fighter. You can once again watch the full video. The full video is awesome. You get to see the stage. The stage is gorgeous. I'm super hyped for this stage. It's insanely good looking. That's what I really want to see. But they show Fahkumram versus Marduk, and they make him look like he's super tall, and then for some reason they show him like standing next to each other, and he's like the same size. So, like I don't understand, but whatever. So obviously he looks to be similar animation-wise to Bruce. Bruce was a Muay Thai fighter. Obviously, this isn't the same thing. Like, the first thing I had thought about when I saw him was like, oh my god, dude, this guy is gigantic. And if he has back two, like his back two is going to hit like full screen, right? And then it's like, oh, okay, he does. Not only does he probably not have back two, but he's actually not that much bigger than Marduk. Marduk's a big dude, but once again, I was like, holy shit, dude, a back two that hits like range four. Like, holy crap, that's the first thing I'm sure that went through everyone's minds. But we'll see. Muay Thai fighter. I'll show you the similarities of Bruce. I'll kind of talk about it. Yeah, and here we go. So down 1-4, down 2-4. I'm sorry, from Marduk. Goes for, I believe, so it's hard to know. I don't think this is going to be standing three. If you're playing as Bruce or Josie, this is standing three. But for some reason, I'm inclined to believe this is forward three. So forward 3-4 looks to be NC, which is nice. It's nice to have an option right away. I highly, highly doubt that this is a proper punish because, yeah, he gets counter hit there. And actually, now that it's counter hit, this might be NC only. NCC only, but in a similar vein, because he ends with a single knee, single knees are typically safe follow-ups. Like Brian's kind of the only exception with back three, forward three, but for the most part, single knee is safe. Nice little plus frame option there. And here we go. This is the big, 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 big change. I have to imagine this is 4-4-4. So once again, forward three. Plus frames. 4-4-4. We had the little dash animation in there. Boom. High. And it's an ass stun. On block, it causes an ass stun. He's so massive, so powerful that we get this ass stun on natural hit block. And from here, this is hard to tell because once again, this is an unreleased character. Everything, disclaimer may change by the time he's released, so on and so forth. 4-4-4, ass stun. And this might be similar to Muay Thai stance. So this might be similar to down forward 4 because he has his leg up. And then we see like this massive Superman punch come out of nowhere. And he hits him. I can't imagine that's NC, but it might be. Obviously, that would right away define the meta for Fahkumram. If this was a block option into an NC elbow. But once again, this is an ass stun, and ass stuns are different in Tekken 7, where it's typically like plus 17, plus 19G. So he should be able to block this. But they show him getting hit by it, so who knows? Maybe, maybe not. But I'm very confident that is likely going to be a stance power sort of Superman punch. So not going to be like Josie 4-3+4 or 1+2, but it's going to be a stance 1. And that's going to be the big daddy punch, and they're going to show it later too. So not really, once again, any context. This might be just showing, oh, dude, this guy's so badass. He's just taking Marduk's punches. It might be like Gigas, where Gigas down 3+4, it causes him to just armor through all your attacks. Who knows? It's probably just style. Don't know for a fact, though, so it's hard to say. But he looks badass. Like, he looks sick. The face tat is sick. Everything about him, it looks great. So, I believe this to be his down forward 2. Down forward 2. 3. Likely NC option. Obviously, high ender, causing a stun launcher into forward 3. And then forward 4. So, the reason I think this to be forward 3, forward 4, and this is a high spin, is because Bruce, unlike Josie, has options where rather than ending with a mid option, can effectively cancel it with a high. So Bruce is a little bit different. His like down 3-4 is like down 3 forward 4 as well, where rather than doing like a straight kick, he does like this overhead knee power kick. Plus frames on block, counter hit, launcher, it's still high. You can duck it. But this drastically reminds me of like a Bruce option. So I believe this to be forward 4. So rather than forward 3-4, which is likely the mid, he does forward 3, forward 4. Once again, this is all speculative. that causes the high cancel to the attack, just like Bruce, and this causes a spin launcher here. Dash up. Okay, so if we use what we know about Bruce and Josie, this is likely going to be standing 3+4, homing mid option. Bruce's used to have an option like this, which was just 4-4-3, but because he's ending with his right leg, I believe this would be 3+4, so his homing option. And also because Bruce 3+4 and Josie 3+4 is typically a high homing option, due to the dude's size, I have to imagine they just made it mid. Because, like, could you imagine him doing 3+4 up here? Like, who's going to be hit by that? It's way too high, right? It's kind of one of the problems Josie has. 3+4 is a great counter hit launcher, but good luck ever landing it on anyone. And Josie's a small character too, you know. 3+4, natural hit knockdown, breaks the wall. Spin option. Okay, so this looks just like Negan back one. I have to imagine it's back one. I don't know for a fact, obviously, but it looks like a back one, so it's either back one or down forward one. And then he goes for 4, but he cancels the 4. 3, the low option, and then ends with Bruce crouch dash 2. So this is going to be the MO of the character. He's going to have cancels, like a lot of cancels, and then he ends with a mid. So we'll do it one more time. Back 1, 4, cancel 3, 2, which is probably, I highly doubt if it's NCC, or it's probably NCC, I'm sorry, probably not NC. And if it's anything like Josie crouch dash 2 or Brian crouch or Bruce crouch dash 2, minus 14. Now they do show it from a different angle, and from the hit, it might be a ground hitting option. So it might be an Oki option for him. No way for us to know for a fact, but from the sprite, it looks to be very low to the ground. So it might actually be a ground hitting option, or at least a low slump option, probably causing a flip over stun. Okay, so we basically see Bruce down forward 3+4, but it's a single hit. I would imagine this is going to be kind of similar to Josie down 3+4, where she just has a low hitting power hit or mid power kick. Down 3+4 hits the ground. This one clearly would not hit the ground, but it's likely going to be a natural hit wall splat. I would presume it's safe, but if it's anything like Josie's, it's not. If it's like Bruce's, it would be. But Bruce's typically requires you to land a counter hit for a wall splat. So we see 1-2-1, and unlike Bruce's 1-2-1, he has a mid hit in between it, and then he ends with a rising knee. So 1-2-1, likely 4. And like I said, very similar at first, but then very different versus Bruce's, and then causing a flip over. And this appears to be very consistent for like your wall ender. So I mean, who wouldn't want to do this, right? It looks to be the best thing ever. Okay, very shortly we'll see the next thing. Or no, 211, so let's skip ahead. Okay, kind of similar to, what do you call it? Like the arguably the worst move in Season 3. Very similar looking to Miguel stance low. I imagine this is just an immediate down back 3. Plus frames into a 4 option, but once again he cancels it, so rather than be 4-3, is likely 4-3 slide 4. So once again cancels it into a mega plus frame knee, so it's definitely his turn. So it likely is going to be linear as shit, but at the same time 4-3 probably tracks, kind of similar to Harong. So it's going to be a proper 50-50, but that is massive plus frames. It looks sick. Okay, so we see his Power Crush. If I was to take a guess, is basically going to be like down forward, 4-3+4, high. So it looks like 4-4, but with armor on it instead. And it's a natural hit launcher. Because that's the end of her string. Should look like K&K 1-2. Counter hit launcher, full stun. I'm not quite sure what you'd get after it, but I'm sure he has something that would connect there. So forward 3, forward 4. Once again, I'm not quite sure why they show that because they've already shown it, but they highlight it that he has like the high cancel variant to it. And no surprise that it's a natural hit, wall splat, knockdown, so on and so forth. I doubt it causes a counter hit launcher, but you never know. It is a spin attack. It is very possible that that's a counter hit launcher. They don't show counter hit here, just natural hit launcher, or natural hit knockdown, sorry. So we see the massive 444 option come out, but he once again cancels 444 into something, and I'm not quite sure if this is properly a stance or if he just does 4441. But he causes like this sort of knockdown elbow option, or not knockdown, like mid beefy option. Not quite sure once again if this is a proper stance or if this is just a cancel to the 444 attack. We don't know for a fact. So, but we then see 1-1. That might be 1 forward 1, just like Marduk 1-2 forward 1. It might just be 1-1, but it causes a knockdown state similar to Bruce sidestep 1+2. So as Bruce sidestep 1+2 was a counter hit launcher, this might be a counter hit launcher. Once again, we haven't seen any quick low pickup options yet, but it is very possible that's the case here. Okay. Some sort of, so this is likely back 2, which kind of shows like, hey, back 2 is gone. But then he goes with a low. In hindsight, Bruce could have forward 2-3. This might be forward 2 rather than back 2. So a low option, it caused immediate kind of huge, not pickup, but a huge follow-up is guaranteed after that. And, you know, we could see this might be the 50-50, the 4-2-4. Likely going to be just like Josie, full crouch down forward 4. Huge launch punish bomb block, but at the same time, it's a natural hit. Massive knockdown. Okay, so we see the stance Superman punch very fast. From how Brian flies and the camera flies, it looks to be that Superman punch will be a wall bounce. Not known for sure, but I have a feeling it is. Skip a little bit ahead. So Mark tries to grab him, but I think this is just for dramatics. He tries to do VTS 1+2, but I believe this to be basically Bruce's command throws. So we have Josie doesn't have any of Bruce's command throws, but looks like Fahkumram will have the Bruce command grab. So be scared. Maybe that's his lows. Maybe his command grabs are his lows. Okay, down forward 2-1. I'll show this one. He gets up, so he's not in rage currently, right? And then they do this animation where he basically charges himself up. So I doubt it's going to be like Scar for Sagat, if you guys have ever played Street Fighter. I have a feeling this is going to be his rage art. So when you get down to like, 15% health or whatever, I think you have the option to use your rage meter to basically get into the supercharged stance. I'm speculating, obviously, this might change because, they didn't show him. This might be maybe he doesn't have rage. Maybe it's an on-demand, like, X Factor sort of option. But out of this supercharge, he definitely has new things. I have a feeling it's going to be kind of like Nikali from Street Fighter V, where, once again, you take a certain amount of health damage, you can V-trigger, and then you are like super Nikali sort of stuff going on here. So supercharge 3 or 3+4, natural hit launcher. 4 slide 4. 4, like 4, 3, slide 4. Little bit of a pickup. Down forward 2, 1 or 1+2. Don't know which one it is quite yet. But hey, we have a floor break stage. That's huge. I've been wanting like an additional floor break stage forever now. So them adding one is so nice. So nice. I can't wait. They need more floor break stages. It just spices it up enough, Okay, so we get the little bound on the bottom. So down forward 2. Now, I don't know if that's down forward 2-1 or back 1, but here's the important thing. This is a continuation of the down forward 2-1. and we didn't have an animation, like a specialty animation, like he didn't go like, oh, or something, like a charge. This is an extension. And then he does basically down forward 2, 1, 3, which is basically his rage art. So he has an on-demand instant like cancel rage art or an extension that can only be performed when he's in the supercharged stance. So look again. He has the rage art animation, but he performed it out of a string, essentially. So this is out of a string. He didn't do down 4, 2, 1 into it. It's a continuation. So obviously there's a little bit of flair here, but once again, Marduk is already airborne. Now they might be like, this is just like their concept and they haven't perfected it yet. But Marduk flies, right? And then Fahkumram comes down with his knee, power knee, with a 3. So it might be down forward 2, 1, 3, which kind of like Leo might only have the ability to come out when she's key charged. So her key charge, his supercharge, once again, it's probably his meter, because as soon as he gets off of Marduk, kind of like Negan, his meter subsides. So it might, like I said, be like an X Factor. It might be the end of the round, so it might be like Nikali. Now that Nikali won or Fahkumram won, he loses it. But I have a feeling it's like not quite like an EX. It's just like an extension of his abilities. So like it's a supercharged Leo option, or like a full taunted Brian who has a few extensions that he doesn't have otherwise. But that pretty much covers it. Once again, go ahead. Watch the videos from the official Namco channel if you want to watch the full intro. Once again, the stage is gorgeous. I mean, this is so incredible looking of a stage. It's great. It's like classic Tekken look, and it's cool that Ganryu is from Thailand too. So it looks great. Be sure to follow, like. I'm sure I have a few more videos coming out in the meantime. Once season 3, like Leroy comes out, we'll definitely explore the shit out of him. But for now, that's the new characters. I hope you have a great day. Later all.